We're setting up a new house, and my son convinced me to give the Ubiquiti equipment a try. I was not familiar with the company, but he pointed me in the directions, and one of the things we got to go with it was this FlexHD AP. The access point appears to give out a very good Wi-Fi signal, and in the end I decided to get the ceiling mount for it as opposed to the pole mount or mounting it on the wall or standing it on a cabinet. Just seemed to get it out of the way, and I liked the light for the hallway at night, so we decided to give it a try. It did not come with a ceiling mount though, and I had to get that separately. The instructions with it were a little confusing, so my goal here is to try to attempt to show you how the ceiling mount can be used. And as I said, at night that blue light made for a really cool night light. This is the ceiling mount for the UAP FlexHD Wi-Fi access point for the Ubiquiti system. Frankly, my kid is the one who convinced me to switch to Ubiquiti for the system, and the equipment seems very nice, but I'll have a little rant here. Their customer service stinks. Okay, their instructions that they provide are not great, even for mounting something like this. So I just used this, as you saw in the opening shots. I decided to use this as a ceiling mount. It allows for a good portion of the access point to disappear in the ceiling, and gives it a smaller footprint hanging down. The mount itself is interesting. You have a cover plate that gives you some cosmetics. You have this outer ring that goes outside the ceiling. You have the magnets that hold the cosmetic cover plate on. You have the possibility for 3 screw mounts. And you have this other piece here, which retains it. And from what I can see, it comes apart. So you have these two pieces. And the way they work would appear to be, the instructions again were not clear. This would go, if you're using a hung ceiling, this goes on the top side of the ceiling tile. This goes on the room side of the tile and helps retain it. And then the clips click into the corrugated spot until it locks down on the tile. You can then use the screws if you so desire for a little more stability. What I did though, as you can see in the picture, I did not have a hung ceiling. I used we have a plaster ceiling, and what I did was, originally I used this piece in it, and I realized if I ever have to pop it down, I'm going to have a problem and have to go up into the attic, which will soon be buried because right now we're in the middle of construction. But once it's buried, it's going to be a real pain to get to. And as it turns out, as I thought through it, it really isn't needed if you're using a solid ceiling. Okay, so you put that on the side. It comes with some screws and some plaster anchors, which could be better. The screws are on the short side as far as a good grasp goes. So what I did was, one, you would trace out your line. That would be the circumference of the hole you have to cut. I was able to do that with a handsaw. It gave a nice snug fit. This popped up into the ceiling, and it was pretty much sitting nicely on its own. The cable comes in from the back, and then the access point connects and pushes in. So very nice. Now, to secure it to my ceiling, as I said, I did not use the other piece, so I needed the screws. I put the wall anchors in, the ceiling anchors, but I would suggest, if you're using plaster, use a longer screw. And I switched to a longer screw to make sure this would be good and secure and not come down. The access point, once it slides in, actually gives a very nice snug fit, so that doesn't seem to be coming down on its own. So that pretty much is the way to use it. It's not a major deal, but like I said, the directions look like both parts should always be used. They weren't clear. I don't think, from what I can see, both were needed. I would use this if you have a ceiling tile. The tile would come in. This would mount against the tile. You would scribe the circle the same way, cut your hole, put this through the tile, and then pop that on to retain it to the tile. And then whether or not you use the screws is up to you, because this would give a very good anchor to it. So, there you go. It's a nice little device. I think it looks great. Makes for a nice night light when the lights are out. And, any questions, ask below.